What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode, and I want to talk about the secrets that you keep this week. Right? We've all got secrets that we're keeping, especially as guys. There's a lot of pride that comes into the picture when it comes to our secrets. For a lot of us, for example, right? I'll talk about this one this week just because it recently came up in a discussion with another guy. Um, Dealing a lot with struggling to be totally forthright with the financial picture that you're sitting with right now, right, that the family's in, right? Trying to handle it, right, without worrying our partner, and just the cascade of effects that happens from that. So this week, right, as we're kind of finishing out the year, I want to talk with you guys about the importance of being honest, right? So we've talked about it in other areas, but the importance of being honest, especially when it comes to the financial picture. Telling your wife, opening up to her exactly the reality of where things are at and where they sit. Okay. And then what you guys can do to brainstorm together to try and help course correct if needed. Right. I want you guys to be able to feel confident in having that conversation. Now, is it going to be easy? No. Is it going to be scary? Yes. Right. It's a very vulnerable thing, right? Especially when it comes to our pride, thinking that here's this thing that I need to be in control of. And especially if you feel as a man that you need to be in control of the financial picture. She's trusted me to be in charge of this. I took on that responsibility, and I've only seemed to let it go unchanged, or I've not been able to improve it at all. Okay. And trying to leave your partner in the dark is never a winning recipe for your relationship. Period. The more she knows, the better. Now, you have to preface it in the right way. You have to be able to broach that topic in conversation and let her know, right, that you want to talk to her, that you need to talk about something important. And you need to be forthcoming. Okay. And you need to be willing to know that you're going to get some pushback. Right. It's not going to go maybe perfectly, but need to be able to know that that's a conversation that you need to have. Okay. All right. I don't know what happened, but let's pick up where we left off. It's an important conversation that needs to be had when it comes to the reality of the financial picture that you guys are in. If you're trying to hide debt with more debt, trying to make it sound like you're getting ahead when you're not getting ahead, that's a conversation that you need to have, right? And it's easy for us to be like, well, she knows, but she doesn't really know, right? I've hinted at it, I've alluded to it, but she doesn't really know the full situation, right? And that's a time where we drop the ball. If you're in that predicament right now, you've dropped the ball there, right? You can't be afraid to be honest with your wife, right? And especially as a man, what kind of man would I be if I felt like my partner doesn't deserve the truth, right? Because if I'm withholding information, especially important information when it comes to our family, when it comes to our finances, then that's going to seem like I can't trust her with anything, right? Only with the good. We can't talk about the bad. And that's not a healthy relationship. And so in that effort to keep her in the dark, right, to handle it all myself, even though I'm not handling it at all, that erodes at my character, that erodes away at my man, right? My manhood, my essence of who I am as a man. And then other things start to pop up, like poor sleep, GI distress, weight gain, right? Decreased motivation to work out as frequently. Increased temper, right? Shorter fuse. Lower performance at work, right? Lower performance in the bedroom, right? There's a cascade of effects. And so not only is because the financial picture isn't as pretty as I've tried to paint it to be, or hope that I could paint it on my own, now that's impacted my health, my my business, my career, my performance at work, which further impacts the financial picture, right? So then you get in this cycle. And then it's also negatively impacted the relationship because I'm now distracted and detached, right? My mind is elsewhere. My heart is elsewhere, right? If you guys have been in this situation, you understand, right? It's easier said than done to correct it, right? It's a difficult conversation that you're going to have. And you keep putting it off, right? And maybe you've put it off for years. And you keep thinking that it's eventually just, we're not ready to have that conversation. We're not ready to talk about that yet. I'm not ready to talk about that yet, right? Well, what has to happen for you to be ready to talk about it? Right? Do you think it's just going to resolve itself on its own? Do you think that throwing a bigger payment at that credit card, throwing a big chunk of change, trying to liquidate your assets and sell off things is going to put a massive dent in that debt? No, it's not. And meanwhile, it's being done under the guise of, I'm trying to give my family opportunities, right? And as men, let's not get this twisted. Are we trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to make sure our kids and spouses keep up with the Joneses because we want them to have the basic rights and essentials and vital components of a healthy, fulfilling life? Or is it, I want them to be able to have all these experiences, right? I want them to be able to say that they've had all these experiences. And the experiences are great. Making memories is great, right? But you're getting caught up in bells and whistles, ancillary things that aren't necessary. They're not going to really move the needle forward in their life. It's just giving them cooler things to do. Meanwhile, they're still devoid of that substance because their father, their husband, is leading the family from an inauthentic position, from a very veiled, protected, guarded position where he can't feel honest and forthright and transparent, right? And so we talked a little while back about transparency and the importance for that in a conversation, especially in an intimate relationship, right? So communication is key, it's vital, but talking about the ability to communicate clearly the financial picture, that's a whole different level of discomfort. And I understand that, right? I've been there, right? It's been dirty. It's been ugly. And it's not because, and everybody's situation is different, right? Mine wasn't I'm not trying to buy things just to keep up with people. I'm not trying to have things to say that I've got them or to show off this thing or that thing or treat yourself or whatever. It was more so like I'm paying for things to try to learn more, and I'm trying to get more information and more skills, and that way I can try to, build something. And when those things didn't take off on the timeline that I expected them to, I kept thinking, well, maybe I just need the next best coaching or the next best program or whatever to get information from, because it seemed like, oh, I want to be where they're at, right? And in a way that is keeping up with the Joneses. Am I right? But in the effort to try to do all those things, that happened right on the cusp of a time where I was about to be laid off, and I didn't know it yet. I didn't prepare for it. And so then, expensing things on credit cards, and then having to essentially live on the credit cards because now the bank account wasn't there anymore. That became a scary place. And doing it all by yourself, right? It's scary. But when you're in a partnership, when you're in a marriage, the ability to have those conversations with them, you can't do it on your own, because the more you try to hide, that's more that just festers under the surface like a wound, and it doesn't go away. And men need to be honest with their spouse and with their families, and let them know, hey, this is why we're not experiencing these things anymore, all these fun things that we were doing. There's the very real situation here. And in order to try and help right this ship, I know how to do it, but I need you guys on board. And me trying to do it without telling you that to get you on board, and it all kind of happened under the surface behind the scenes, it's not working. In fact, it's making it worse. It's killing my health. It's breaking down the family. And we got to get this right. And we got to get it on track. And I take full responsibility. And I'm here to lead by example, right? I'm not going to keep you guys in the dark. And so being able to be honest with them, but be honest with ourselves, right? That, okay, I can't do it on my own. I thought I could, and now I need your help. Right? In how many areas of our lives is that true? Not just financially, but right. But the topic of this episode, let's keep it on finances. But how hard is it for us to say, I didn't do as well as I thought I was going to with this task. I've dropped the ball. I'm ashamed. I feel very inadequate right now. And I know what I need to do. And it would mean a lot to me to have your all support as I try to do this, and understanding. And I think you'll be surprised. All right. So guys, especially around the holidays, right? If you're battling that debt monster, first step is to get honest with yourself. Admit that it's as bad as you think it is, or it's as bad as you don't want to think it is. 2, have the honest conversation with your spouse, get it out in the open, put it on the table, and figure out how to fix it together, because you can't do it by yourself. It's driving you deeper into depression, detachment, and despair. Right? Because now it's a dark cloud that's over everything. And it's not just because the days are shorter. It's because you've been lying about something, trying to keep a secret for so long, and it's growing, it's not getting any better, and it's not going away, and you're still trying to keep everybody in the dark about it. So I encourage you guys this week, have that hard conversation. The sooner the better. The sooner the better. All right? Because you're trading a primary root cause issue for a multitude of secondary and tertiary problems and symptoms that pop up as a result. So, guys, that's all I've got this week. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Becoming a Better Man podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jason Wright. For more info on how to work with me or support the show better, check out the description and the show notes, and click the links in order to check out other programs that I'll offer, like my 21-day Becoming a Better Man program. You can get started as soon as tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. in your inbox. I also do private remote fitness and men's coaching. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be on this journey with you, but I can't do it for you, right? And the sooner you understand that, the better. And having said that, thank you all, and we'll see you again next week.